Hello, hello, hello. What's up, my friends? It's Alexandra. It is Tuesday morning. Thought I'd be a little bit different and go live in the morning, see if that works best for everybody. If you are just joining me and are like, who is this girl in red lipstick and hoops talking about herpes? Why would we talk about herpes? What's going on with herpes? I was diagnosed with herpes in 2003. Cool. I just got a note from TikTok. Okay. I was diagnosed with herpes in 2003, HSV1 oral, and then I was diagnosed with genital herpes in 2011. So I've been living with herpes for 2 decades, for 20 years. And I decided to go live and go public about it in 2017. I created a platform. I created Life With Herpes. I created a community. I created a website. I created YouTube channel. I created all these platforms and ways to digest information about living with herpes. What is the lifestyle component of living with herpes? Not so much just the facts and data that go along with it, which are extremely important, but how do we get through it? How do we manage? How do we cope? So if you are a regular on my lives, you know that I get hundreds of questions and sometimes have a hard time getting to all the questions. So if you specifically have questions on herpes, living with herpes, things like that, please go on ahead and ask them, and I will do my best to answer them as they come in. So I take them in order. So if I do not get to you, I apologize in advance, and thank you for understanding. Also, if you know somebody that is living with herpes and you're like, oh my gosh, they have to hear this information, please feel free to share it. Please feel free to let them know about this content that I have here. Like I said, I am someone that's been living with herpes for 2 decades, and I'm just trying to get the information out so that people understand, hey, you do not need to be ostracized. Hey, you're not going to be a leper. Hey, you're going to live a completely normal, beautiful life. And it's a matter of educating yourself and finding a community. My favorite Chinese food dish. Okay, so honestly, I don't really like Chinese food. Sorry. I'm not really a big Asian food person. I love sushi though, or I do love ramen bowls, but that's it. I'm not, so I can't really answer that. I'm actually allergic to soy, so it makes it really hard too, because there's a lot of like soy and tofu and things in Asian food. Okay, this has nothing to do with herpes. And I actually dated someone from Hong Kong, and so that was like kind of challenging. Anyways. Okay. So how do you deal and cope with it? So that's a huge question. How do you deal and cope with herpes? Number one, I would say we need to educate ourselves on herpes. What is herpes? What is herpes not? We all have this preconceived notion, this preconceived thought of what herpes is. And so therefore we feel that it's associated with shame, guilt, promiscuity, deviant behavior, that type of person. And really what we don't know is 2 out of 3 people have herpes, and those are people that are diagnosed, and that boils down to roughly 67% of the population has HSV1. And then we have HSV2. We have 1 out of 6 people that have HSV2. And that boils down to roughly about 13% of people dealing with HSV2. So when we add that together, there's roughly an 80%, the population has an 80% chance of living with herpes, or 80% of the population has herpes. So when we realize that, we realize how common it is, and we realize that there is no good kind and no bad kind, it is all herpes. If we started using the actual words for it, not cold sores. Oh, I get cold sores. I don't have herpes, right? People say it all the time. So if we start realizing that it's herpes, we start getting rid of the stigma. So again, educate yourself is going to be something that's really, really important. The next thing I would do, and is just like what you're doing right now, you're educating yourself, you're finding a community. That's why I created Life with Herpes, is so that you could have a community, so that I could have a community. I didn't have a community when I was first diagnosed in 2011, and it was isolating, it was suffocating, it was extremely paralyzing to be all alone. Thank you for the follows, guys. I really appreciate that. And so anyways, how do you deal and cope? So again, educate yourself, find a community. That's why I have the Life with Herpes community. It is a monthly subscription of $15 a month where you have access to me, you have access to other people in the group. It's a chat, and we have 2 live video calls a week. So it really is a beautiful community, and I really recommend that. How do you tell potential significant others about it? Because last time I did, she left me. Okay. So I was talking about this last night on our support group call. That's the support group call that we have for our paid members. And one of the things I really think that you should boil down first is, what is it that you are looking for in the relationship? Is it casuals or one night stand? Are you looking for multiple partners? Is it a long-term relationship? I'm specifically going to talk about, it was my neighbor. My neighbor's dog went for a swim in the lake outside our houses, so I had to let her know. Anywho, I'm going to speak more about a long-term relationship. I would personally wait until you're ready to have an intimate relationship with that person. You need to decide if that person is ready. Is that person even willing? Is that person even not willing? Is that person even worth knowing intimate information about you? We assume that because we have herpes, we have to bring it along with us everywhere we go. We have to disclose to people everywhere we go. And we have to disclose right up front. And we don't. We don't have to disclose unless we're going to expose them to it. So again, I would determine when you're ready to sleep with that person and be intimate. Then you'd have just kind of an umbrella conversation. What are we doing here? When was the last time you were tested? I was tested for these things. I'm negative for these things. I'm positive for HSV 1 or 2. Are you familiar with what that is? And you can have that conversation. And then you go into it together. What do we want to do together? In past relationships, I've done this, or from what I've learned, we can do this. There are some natural ways we can prevent transmission. Obviously, condoms work great, but I do want you to know they are only going to prevent 30 to 50% of the time. We can also do some natural supplements like Angiographis, like Monolaurin, and I am out of Lysine in here because I used it, but these are the supplements that I take personally. So these are some natural things that we can do to help keep the virus limited in our body, keep it out of replication mode. So 80% of the population has herpes. Yep. That's 80% that are diagnosed. And they've done studies, they've done blind studies. They've talked to, college kids and all that. And it's 90% of the people living with genital herpes will never be diagnosed with it, which is astonishing. I'm going to say that again. And 90% of the people living with genital herpes will never be diagnosed, meaning they will never know they have it. Why is that? Well, number one, the herpes test is not included in the STI test. So we may be responsible sexually active adults. We may go into our doctor, healthcare providers, whoever, and say, please test me for herpes, for STDs. Cool. You get your results back. They're negative. You think nothing of it, gone with your day. What you don't realize is HSV, herpes, the herpes simplex virus, is not included in the panel. So it's not on there. And so that's why, number one, people are not being tested for it. Number two, most people are asymptomatic for herpes. That's really a huge reason why a lot of people, why the herpes virus is promiscuous, you could say that, is because people don't know they have it, so they don't have ways of preventing transmission. So people don't know that they are asymptomatic. And then number three, an outbreak can look very different on different people. It can look like a paper cut. It can look like a blister. It can be a cluster of blisters. It can be really far and few between. You could say, gosh, I nicked myself shaving 5 years ago, but I didn't think anything of it, and I have never had anything since, so I don't think anything of it. So there's so many people that don't have symptoms, and that's why people are not going to be diagnosed with herpes. How do you bring this up with a conversation with a new partner? I just mentioned that whenever you're ready to be intimate with that person. So we just talk about sexual health. What are we going to do? Or what are we going to use for birth control? Are we monogamous? Or are we dating other people? So just all those questions you can bring up. My wife and I found out we had it while we were dating. I actually proposed to her 2 days before finding out. Yes, so it can take months and years before you even have your first outbreak. Absolutely. So I know dozens, hundreds, whatever, of people that are like, I've been in a monogamous relationship for decades and I just found this out. Like, where did this come from? And it's because it can be dormant in your system, or you may have had something years ago and you didn't realize it, or you didn't even notice it, and then it manifests decades later as like a major huge outbreak. And so that happens all the time. I have talked to people that have had deceased spouses that have been celibate since, their spouse, and they're like, how did I get this? I haven't even had sex in decades. Is it true that you can have it and not even know it? Yes. 90% of the people with genital herpes will never be diagnosed. It's huge. What supplements do you take again? I missed it. So I like these Natural Cure Labs, actually formerly known as Natural Cure Labs. They're now Palmera Health. I take Monolaurin and I take Lysine. I don't have the Lysine supplement here. I used it. Lysine is, I'll put that down because I don't have it. Lysine is an essential amino, essential amino acid. It's a protein that helps block the replication of the herpes virus. It kind of is like, a fire extinguisher to the herpes virus. It doesn't like it. It has a hard time replicating. So by taking lysine supplements, it can help it. You can also apply I have products that have lysine in them that you can apply topically. Like I have this rescue balm, the Everyday Wellness Oil that also has lysine in it. When you apply it directly to the outbreak, it helps fight it topically. Sorry, I had chia seeds this morning, and anyways, okay. Then there's Monolaurin, which is called lauric acid. And what it does is it breaks down the outer layer of an enveloped virus. An enveloped virus includes herpes virus, and it means that there's an outer shell around a virus. I like to think of an egg, right? It has a shell, and so our immune system can't penetrate that shell. So what Monolaurin, aka lauric acid, does is it disrupts that outer shell, and then our immune system can go in and penetrate it. So it basically disrupts the herpes viruses in our body, or virus, however you want to say it, in our body, so our immune system can fight it, especially when it's replicating and doing things of that nature. So I take these. They are linked in the bio for you. Like I said, I use this topically on my outbreaks. You can also put it in a bath. You can use it all over your body. There's some great ingredients that can help calm your nervous system, and there's essential oils. It's all natural. So anyways, that's what I have. Yeah, I never had any symptoms and did a routine checkup and asked for herpes and had it. So that's really, it's really common for people to like have no clue that they have it and then all of a sudden go and get tested. Does it affect pregnancy? No, I had a baby vaginally. So, and he's completely fine, doesn't have herpes. Once you're in utero, the baby's in utero, the baby cannot contract it. It's skin to skin. It would be during delivery. It would be the concern. So is that for guys too? The pills, the supplements? Yeah, absolutely. There are supplements. Like I said, they're all linked. Men, women, there's a lot of immune system supplements. And yes, you can take these daily. And men, women, all that stuff. So Monolaurin is naturally found in human breast milk. So if you were breastfed as a child, you were naturally given that. So, okay, friends, I hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for going live with me. It was fun. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. If you have questions, please join me on the next live. I will see you soon. Have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Are there any prevention methods to take not to get it? There are some studies that this supplement, Andrographis, helps prevent transmission to people that do not have HSV. I will get the studies and do a video on it because I need to understand it more. But there are some medical studies, so I don't want to make any claims, but there are some studies on that. The next thing that I would do would say ask your partner to get tested and find out if your partner has it. The next thing that we can do is just continue to keep our immune systems boosted. So any type of, vitamin B, D, C, keep our immune systems boosted would be another great way to help keep yourself from getting it. It is out there. It's kind of hard to avoid it with so many people having it. But what are some things we can do to ease the pain? I would say an Epsom salt bath would be something that's really big. We have the recovery soak, and when I take this, it's like, it like wears it out of me basically, because the magnesium just relaxes you. This also has some ingredients in it that will help with pain and can help soothe the sores. We have things like chamomile, relaxing, oregano oil, geranium, and some other things in here that will be really beneficial to helping soothe and deal with the pain. I do have that linked. And then this, I'm going to talk about it because we sell out all the time, and we have some in stock, the Reviver soap. So this was formulated, you guys were asking for a soap to use when you have outbreaks. It has eucalyptus, peppermint. My husband uses it. My son uses it. You don't have to have herpes to use it. I use it, and it feels good on your skin, and it also feels good on your outbreak because it just helps kind of like take away the itch. The new soaps we have are white. So I just want to let you know, the new soaps we have are white. We no longer add the colors because something in it, they turn out different color every time. So we don't have quality control. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you on the next live. Thanks for joining. Have a great Tuesday. Bye.